In terms of trying to visualize what this thing was going to be and should be, in a lot of it I've been sort of catching up with Todd, because he's lived it his whole life, he's collected it, and he's sort of created this. And so the first time I met him, it was in the basement of their office building with, everything was in drawers, everything was piled up, you could barely see file cabinets and desks. And he really had in his mind the whole concept of how to display these and how to walk people through it. And from the storefronts, which work as a way to display the signs, and also work as a way to look through the windows and see some of the smaller artifacts.
Section over here would be sign painting in gold leaf. If you look on your floor plan, you'll kind of see how you turn the corner there, and then you come through the three different areas: the pre-neon or light bulb era, the neon era, and the plastic era.
Restrooms. This is that first low bay section. People come in and can sort of move around this way into the main street section. That's where the really big signs are. Through there. It's such a dynamic type of museum that captures something that's very specific, that came out of the American cultural experience of the last 100 years. And it's a part of our culture that's been neglected and even in some cases disdained as popular culture and not worthy of consideration. One of the great things about Todd's approach to it is he slices it through every level you can possibly do, from the people that make and design signs to the people that use them to promote their business, industry, or culture, to the roadside enthusiasts who like them because of their association with roadside American culture, and then all the way into sociologists and artists who like them for their cultural pop.
Because I get a lot of questions when I do tours. Well, how do they do neon? And I tell them in words, and people just kind of look at me like, "What?" Which is, because it defies a word explanation.
It's really important in creating this experience to have a multiplicity of scales, from the smallest things he has, sort of sign painter tools, to the enormous McDonald's signs and the large genie. So I think one of the biggest changes is we're going to be able to get the big signs in this one. We have the high bay section down the middle of this the new building, which gives a lot more chance to use the big ones. And part of what works well in the museum, and you can see it when you look at the current one, is all of the overlapping, the sort of visual chaos that emerges for it. And in the end, it all comes together, but we're going to have even more of that by being able to increase the range of the scale.
The intention here is to build the storefronts, scale them on, I guess, against here, clearing this I-beam there, where what's going to happen is you're going to have a skyline here. There'll be some buildings will be 2 stories, some will be 3, some will be 2.5. If you picture something like maybe North Side, an older section of the downtown area, that's what we're trying to create here.
Well, a lot of times I've put the signs in arrangements where, I thought they would be, and Todd would very politely come back and say, "Oh, yes, no, it goes over here." And, as we've gone back and forth on that, I've really come to respect his understanding. I mean, he's a great sense of museum display and what the visitor's experience is. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that he, not just the fact he's been living with signs his whole life, but also he's been touring people. He'll get buses coming in from all over, and they're personalized tours. I mean, Todd will walk through the museum and tell people the history, and so he's learned how to read people's reaction, what works, what doesn't, what gets them excited.
That the big circle in that plastic area is our big Sputnik sign. I want that it needs a lot of space with the spikes sticking out. So that's right over there. Okay. Now let's move toward the signs on Main Street area.
I hope what they get is the exuberance and enthusiasm of the American roadside environment. As I said before, it's really something that's very rich. It communicates very effectively, and maybe some of the messages are eat at Joe's, but you add all of these things up, and it's a culture expressing itself in its environment.